Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again. Good morning. Please allow me to welcome Ms. Shiraza Mohammed from the Ministry of Public Utilities, who will do our safety briefing.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Ministry of Public Utilities. This morning, my job is a short one. In the event of an emergency, you will hear an alarm. Once you hear that alarm, you are asked to please calmly, I reinforce calmly, go down the staircase, which is right next to you, and make it down to the ground floor. Please do not use any elevators, and there will be persons to assist you in this process. Upon making it down to ground floor, there will be MTS security guards who will escort you to the ministry's muster point, which is at Augustus Williams Park on Murray Street. There you are asked to remain calm. A roll call will be taken just for accountability purposes. Sure. Thank you. Just for accountability purposes, right? Under no circumstances are you allowed to re-enter the building, as protocol would say. However, once you get the all clear from an authorized personnel, you will be able to re-enter and get your belongings, so forth. As it relates to washroom facilities, there's a washroom right behind you for your convenience. So I hope that today is a safe one, it's a productive one, and please enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Mohammed. I would now like to invite Mr. Wesley George, the Business Development Manager at SWMCOL, to open us in prayer.
We invite us to stand. Our heads bowed, eyes closed. Heavenly Father and God, we give you thanks and praise for this day. We thank you for life, health, and strength. Father, and we thank you for the opportunity we have today to collaborate, oh God, to share ideas. Father and God, we commit this ceremony into your hands. We pray, oh God, that your Holy Spirit will guide us and everything will be done in decency and in order. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Please remain standing for the singing of the national anthem. Minister of Public Utilities, the Honorable Marvin Gonzalez. Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Public Utilities, Ms. Nicolette Duke. Chairman of the Board of Directors of the Trinidad and Tobago Solid Waste Management Company Limited, Mr. Ronald Milford. Chief Executive Officer of SWMCOL, Ms. Ria Ramdeen Ali. Chairman of the Board of Directors of Trinidad Cement Limited, Mr. David Inglefield. Managing Director of TCL, Mr. Francisco Aguilera Mendoza. General Manager of TCL, Mr. Guerrero de Roja de Diego. Government Relations Manager of TCL, Mr. Rodney Cowan. Communications Coordinator of TCL, Ms. Janelle Collins. Management of SWMCOL, specially invited guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is a pleasure to be here with you today, particularly because we're celebrating everything that's good about these two companies. I am sure that our chairman of the board is going to talk to you about the improvements that this would make to not just SWMCOL, but also to our country. There is no need to say it again. We are running out of space. And so therefore we are looking for strategic partners with similar thinking, those who strive to care for the environment and who are persuaded towards using innovation, not just to benefiting their industry, but our country all together. So I would now take this opportunity to welcome the Chairman of the Board of Directors of SWMCOL, Mr. Ronald Milford.
Good morning, good morning. The Minister of Public Utilities, the Honorable Marvin Gonzalez, Ms. Nicolette Duke, Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Public Utilities, Mr. David Inglefield, Chairman of TCL, Mr. Francisco Aguilera Mendoza, Managing Director of TCL, Executive Management of TCL, Executive Management of SWMCOL, ladies and gentlemen, members of the media, very good morning to all of you. On my last engagement with the public, I indicated that as a country, the time has come for us to move from talking to walking. As such, during this current season of Kaiso and Carnival, I am reminded of the words of Calypsonian mystic Prowler, which states, "Two men looking through the same bars, one will fail because he sees mud, while the other succeeds because he sees stars. That's the stuff that great men are made of. It's the stuff you can miss unless you look beneath the surface. Consequently, as our nation's leader in the management of solid waste, SWMCOL is committed and determined to dig deep and work with any organization on innovative ways to sustainably manage the misplaced resources in our landfills. SWMCOL believes that when managed correctly, the materials coming to our various landfills could rebound in great benefits to our environment. As such, we are on a continuous path to leverage our resources and networks to achieve a circular economy. We have embraced the entire breadth of the sector's primary policy, the National Integrated Solid Waste Resource Management Policy. This policy is the country's roadmap to change the trajectory of the sector from a linear waste management system, where the focus is on consumption, waste generation, and disposal of landfilling, to a circular economy which facilitates a zero waste management system. This is in keeping with Goal 5 of the National Development Strategy for Trinidad and Tobago, Vision 2030, which aims to place the environment at the center of our social and economic development in a manner that would minimize waste generation and promote greater recycling and environmental awareness among the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. In this regard, Pillar 1 of SWMCOL Strategic Plan 2021 to 2025 focuses on the minimization of waste and the redirection of recyclable materials from our landfills. Therefore, I invite you to join me in celebrating the signing of this MOU between SWMCOL and TCL, as it is an example of eco-innovation that facilitates waste diversion, waste-to-energy conversion, and environmental protection. The objectives of the MOU are to collaborate, evaluate, and promote cooperation and coordinate efforts with respect to the collection and disposal of solid and liquid waste. Of particular interest is the possibility that this waste can be used at TCL's kilns for its cement operations. Analysis on the viability of this possibility are to be conducted over a period of 1 year and will be guided and will guide any terms of reference, contractual frameworks, and binding agreements as considered necessary. This partnership will help to bring Trinidad and Tobago in line with the wider global movement to zero waste. TCL will attempt to divert waste from landfills and utilize modern technologies to reduce the impact of our consumption habits on the environment, enhance resilience to the environmental pressures, and achieve more efficient and responsible use of our natural resources. In other words, my dear friends, TCL is an earth defender. As your partner in defense of the environment, I would like to reiterate that SWMCOL remains committed to working with any organization willing to work with us on environmentally sustainable initiatives as we journey to a future-proof Trinidad and Tobago. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Milford. TCL, like Mr. Milford indicated, is no stranger to partnering to what would benefit not just the country, but the environment and our globe. TCL's commitment to the environment is evident through their operational procedures, and their continuous thrust to encourage environmental conservation, biodiversity to combat quarrying through rehabilitation, and the reduction of CO2 emissions. This MOU continues along that path. To bring you greetings on behalf of Trinidad Cement Limited, I invite Mr. Rujo de Diego, General Manager of TCL.
Good morning, everybody. I see you keep pronouncing my Guillermo name. You did the right thing. I wanted to start this conversation by saying, after 4 years living in Trinidad, one of the main things I've learned is how you express gratitude in public. I think now is the time and the moment to express gratitude, be thankful for being here, for being breathing, and to have the honor and the responsibility to be part of building a better future for the people of Trinidad. I was also reflecting, for the first time I am playing Carnival this year, and I was reflecting on the amount of garbage that is generated during the Carnival days. I was running some naive numbers in my head, and I said, well, if 100,000 people play Carnival somehow for 2 days, and they drink 5 bottles each one, and every bottle takes 1,000 years to decompose, that would be 1,000 million years to decompose the bottles of water, which is very scary. 14 generations down the road, so I can think my grandchildren in 14 generations down the road, having a swim in Blanchi, might see the values of humanity's most pressing issue, which is climate change. At the core of everything we do, we created Future in Action, a program focused on developing lower carbon products, solutions, and processes to become a net CO2 company. Our ultimate goal is to become a net zero CO2 company by 2050. And to ensure we are on the right track, we have set the most ambitious targets in the industry worldwide. Future in Action focuses on achieving sustainable excellence through climate action, circularity, and natural resources management, with the primary objective of becoming a net CO2 company. To reduce our carbon emissions and achieve our 2030 and 2050 goals, we are concentrating to increase the use of alternative fuels instead of regular fossil fuels, powering our kilns while also providing other benefits for the environment. Alternative fuels are a byproduct of humanity, which otherwise ends up in landfills. The ensuing decomposition generates methane, greenhouse gas emissions, 80 times more harmful for the environment than CO2, and pollute underground water reserves. Co-processing, as we call the use of solid waste in our kilns, is the more efficient waste management solution than a landfill and than incineration. And the main reasons that we wanted to highlight is, first of all, it's a safe system. We have proved in Europe and throughout the world that when that waste that has some calorific power is dumped into our kilns at 1500 grades, most of the harmful substances are destroyed. And then we have the filters that control all the gas emissions that are going out there. So it's a pretty safe system, and it is proved. Cemex has the expertise. As I said, we have done it extensively in Europe. In countries like Germany, above 80% of what we use is waste, 80, which is very impressive. It is cheap. It is a cheap solution because it requires no investment. The kiln is there. All we have to do is we have to adjust something. My MD would say, yeah, we have to spend some money. Yeah, we might have some. But the kiln is there. The most important part of the process is there. We are talking about huge volumes of garbage. The initial numbers that we were playing with and talking to David Abigail and the team was about 200,000 tons of waste, which is a lot. It's a big number, and that can be sustained. An additional good news for NGC is that we would release gas that NGC can put elsewhere and maybe make more money. So they're very happy for this initiative as well. It is a sustainable solution. It is a long-term sustainable solution. We are aiming by 2030, we have a plan to move into this alternative fuel system where we expect to replace close to 40% of our energy with waste. 40% of our energy. And that is kind of the above 200,000 tons of waste that would be treated that way. We would separate, we would use the part that has calorific power, and then the other parts of the waste would have a value, because once we separate it, it has a value. This long-term partnership with SWMCOL would also benefit us, of course, because we will be more competitive, we will have stronger foundations in Trinidad to keep on bringing forex, to keep on creating employment, and to keep on bringing wealth. Ladies and gentlemen, Cemex want to be so much more than a cement manufacturer in Trinidad. We're not happy with that. We want to be a long-term partner with the country, and we believe we have to be aggressive, we have to be innovative, and we have to continue collaborating to ensure that the future generations have a better tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sid. Special mention to the Deputy PS, Ms. Sherilyn Solomon. Thank you for being with us here today, ma'am. This MOU offers Trinidad and Tobago an opportunity to look at our waste differently. We at SWMCOL have been saying it for years. We turn waste into gold. Waste is everybody's business, and TCL proves that. Coming to bring you word on behalf of the Ministry of Public Utilities and by extension the Government of Trinidad and Tobago, Minister Gonzalez.
Thank you very much. Let me first do the formalities and recognize the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Public Utilities, Ms. Nicolette Duke, Ms. Sherilyn Solomon, the Deputy Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Public Utilities, and of course our Chairman of SWMCOL, Mr. Ronald Milford. Thank you very much. Mrs. Ria Lermo, Rojo de Diego, Group Habitations Coordinator, TCL. Right, we're bombarded by TCL representatives here, right? Welcome to the Ministry of Public Utilities, all the TCL representatives. The management of SWMCOL and all especially invited guests, of course, members of the media. I was tempted to go off script, and I decided to play it safe and stick to the script, because it's a very good presentation that was put together by our communications department, and it represented what I thoroughly and truly believe. This morning, I took a walk up Chancellor Hill, and I'm very proud of myself because I did it on 4 occasions this week. So, yes, you were there this morning. But you know, so I did it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and of course Friday. And every time I walked up this week, I was saddened to see the amount of bottles, plastic bottles, at the side of the road and to the top of the hill. And you know, I don't know who's the corporate sponsor. They put some nice, green looking bins along the route, and our citizens would refuse to dump their plastic bottles into those bins that were placed along that route. And it saddens me, because when these plastic containers end up in our drainage channels and our river channels, and they wreak havoc on our citizens, you know what they like to say? The Ministry works in building enough drains, the regional corporations incompetent, the government should go, and all kinds of problems. And I often say that we in Trinidad and Tobago are our worst enemies, and we are victims of ourselves. And because we are victims of ourselves and we do not like to take personal responsibility, even for the simple things that we are charged with on a daily basis, it is very easy, and we have the propensity to always look for someone or something to blame for our bad behavior. It's very unfortunate. And if we are to move forward as a society, then we as citizens must take personal responsibility for the very simple things that we do on a daily basis. We come to work, how we treat the environment, how we dispose of our garbage. And if we can just do these things responsibly on a daily basis, Trinidad and Tobago can be a beacon for every country in the world. It's good that you will take your personal responsibility to exercise on Chancellor Hill. Is very scenic. But how on earth you are treating your environment in the same way? So whilst you are taking care of your bodies and your health, you are damaging the environment. And by damaging the environment, you are damaging your fellow citizens. It's very, very unfortunate. So that's enough off-script kind of stuff, right? So I want to really commend TCL for being a steward and being a partner, coming forward as a corporate body to partner with SWMCOL, our state agency, in our thrust to make and to create a sustainable environment in Trinidad and Tobago. We have partnerships with NGC, we have other partnerships with PriceMart and Carrot Bottles and all these other private entities coming forward. Yesterday I had a very fruitful meeting with BP, and they also want to come and partner with the Ministry of Public Utilities and SWMCOL as we strive to really create a sustainable environment and to protect our environment and to create this circular economy. I was asking I'm going off script again, so please forgive me. So I was asking the chairman, what is SWMCOL's annual subvention? And he mentioned to me $90 million a year. $90 million a year. 2 years ago it was $107 million. So $107 million per year from taxpayers' money, revenues from the state being dumped into SWMCOL for garbage collection, management of your landfills, etc. Why are the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago funding SWMCOL to the tune of $90 million a year when SWMCOL with partnerships like these can be a revenue earner, not only for itself, but contributing to national development? And those are some of the things that we need to look at as a society. Those are some of the things that we look at as a society. SWMCOL should not be a drain on the people of Trinidad and Tobago to the tune of $90 million per year. As a matter of fact, SWMCOL should be contributing $90 million a year based on partnerships and initiatives like these as we came here together. I'm asking people like TCL and so much other private agencies, please come forward, partner with us. As a matter of fact, Chairman, I will ask you to consider the next meeting of your board of directors, consider the establishment of a research and development unit within SWMCOL and staff that unit with young people. You had a conference a short while ago at the Hyatt, and I was amazed to see the participation of so many of our young people. And I was really, really impressed. And I'm telling you here this morning that a lot of our young people have great ideas. And they want to be given that space at the table to come forward and give their energies and their creative thinking and their passion. And I think it is very important at this point in time that SWMCOL creates a research and development unit comprising mainly of young people to explore all the possibilities and all the initiatives to really generate waste and to really generate revenue from the waste as opposed to damaging our environment in Betham, in Guanaco, and Forest Park. So this Memorandum of Understanding between SWMCOL and Trinidad Cement Limited is significant for a number of reasons. Not only does it mark a partnership between a government agency and a private entity, but it brings us another step closer to the actualization of a vision that we have been steadfastly working towards on a number of fronts. That of a circular economy that can drive our continued development as a nation while at the same time ensuring that sustainable use and management of our resources. Indeed, the time for the realization of such a vision is upon us, not just here in Trinidad and Tobago, but globally. And back in 2017, then President of the United States of America, Barack Obama, spoke with a certain amount of urgency of the necessity of developing a sustainable way of life on a global scale when he said, and I quote, "If we act boldly and swiftly, we set aside our political interests in favor of the air that our young people will breathe, and the food they will eat, and the water they will drink. If we think about them and their hopes and dreams, then we will act and it wouldn't be too late. And we can leave behind a world that is worthy of our children, where there's reduced conflict and greater cooperation. A world marked not by the than they were when Obama said these words. And it's against this backdrop that we are about to witness the establishment of a partnership that we hope will yield positive results while providing a blueprint that others can follow. This MOU will, over a period of 1 year, in the first instance, allow SWMCOL and TCL to explore opportunities to collaborate, evaluate, and promote cooperation and coordinate efforts with respect to the collection and disposal of solid and liquid waste. Convert municipal solid waste into high-value fuel. Utilize tire-derived fuel in cement production. And 4, to utilize waste oil in cement production. So at this point in time, I'll go a little bit off script again. So I am proud to say that over the last 2 years, SWMCOL, working alongside the public officers in the Ministry of Public Utilities, meeting a number of our stakeholders in the private sector. And of course, some of those meetings were very, very tense. Because, you know, when you're in the business of governing a country, everyone has their own idea. And in Trinidad and Tobago, we are very filled with experts in different fields. And of course, you know, people might be pointing you in one direction, but the direction that they are pointing you may not be in the national interest. It might be in their own commercial interests. And as a government, you have to be very aware of all these things to ensure that whatever final decision or decisions are made, it will be in our collective interest. So I'm very happy to say at this point in time, we are about to go before Cabinet with our integrated waste management policy for Trinidad and Tobago, as well as our recycling policy. Our beverage container bill finally will go before Cabinet, and I look forward to the draft bill being laid in Parliament in this financial year. So it means then that within these legal and policy frameworks, what we are doing here today will fall squarely, and that we are not operating by VAPs, and we are not VOPing, and just waiting for someone to come to the door with an idea and we are running. All of these things will now be anchored in our policy directive for an integrated waste management policy, a recycling policy for Trinidad and Tobago, and of course our beverage container bill. And based on what I have seen, I feel very confident that it will lay the framework for SWMCOL to become self-sufficient from a financial perspective, contributing to the national coffers, but also our environment. It gives our young people and all of us that opportunity to make positive changes to our environment, to create the circular economy, and to ensure that we get much needed revenue in the way that we manage our waste. It is very sad that we are now coming with this because unfortunately it wasn't perhaps a priority under previous administrations. But we should have never reached a point where the Gonapo landfill is almost filled its capacity, if not filled already. And the Beetham landfill is already filled to capacity. And the Forest Park landfill I feel I will have to attach the fire services to SWMCOL because they're always outing fires down there. But it shows then that we need to act with urgency. And very soon, as we put all these policies in place and our draft legislative framework to guide our affairs over the next 20 years, we will also commence the procurement of our engineered landfill, first engineered landfill at the Forest Park facility for the very first time in Trinidad and Tobago. The waste characterization study is on its way. The environmental assessment study is about to commence. And once those two studies are completed over the next 3 or 4 months, as we move towards the end of this financial year, we will now look forward to going out with a public, local, international tender to commence the construction of the first engineered landfill in Trinidad and Tobago. So we are making good progress, and I want to congratulate the staff of the Ministry of Public Utilities as well as SWMCOL for their hard work over the years to take us to this very important point. Congratulations to each and every one of you. And as I close, we are all stewards of this environment. It is our collective responsibility. It is not only the responsibility of SWMCOL or the board or the management or the staff of SWMCOL. It is not only TCL. It should be all of us putting our hands together, because if we don't, there will be nothing we'll be offering future generations, and they will not forgive us for it. We have a responsibility now to do things differently, and therefore I congratulate SWMCOL and TCL for making this important strides. God bless each and every one of you, and I look forward to a positive outcome from this Memorandum of Understanding.
Thank you very much, Minister Gonzalez. Not just as an employee of SWMCOL, but also as a young person who's charged with making sure that we make the right decisions for our future. There is an Indian proverb that says, you do not inherit the planet, we simply borrow it from those yet to come. As we continue along the pathway of sustainability, we at SWMCOL understand that the signing of this Memorandum of Understanding, while it is a singular action that speaks about corporate responsibility, it is the collective energies of the companies present here that would support and make this a profitable venture. At this time, we would like to invite the signatories to sign the Memorandum of Understanding. So if you can follow to my right, please. Thank you very much. I know that we're all excited about the signing of this MOU. So we save the best for last. Closing remarks, I'd welcome Mrs. Ria Ramdeen Ali, CEO of SWMCOL.
Good morning, all protocols observed. Thank you is such a prayer that cannot be seen or touched. It must be felt by the heart. It is indeed a great privilege to extend closing remarks on this momentous occasion. This day will be remembered as a milestone in the transition towards waste minimization and diversion, and ultimately fulfillment of SWMCOL's strategic 2021 to 2025 focus, pathway to sustainability. The very presence of the Honorable Minister in today's ceremony, in spite of his extremely busy schedule, is a reflection of the importance that is attached to the commitment of the Ministry of Public Utilities and by extension the Government of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago to transition towards renewable energy and the adoption of a circular economy approach to managing waste. I would like to take this opportunity to express our sincere appreciation to the Honorable Marvin Gonzalez for sharing with this august audience his vision for waste management and the creation of a sustainable environment. In fact, I have taken heed of his words to encourage personal responsibility, and I've also heeded his call to SWMCOL to contribute to national development and the development of partnerships which can lead to revenue generation. A special thank you to our venerable chairman, Mr. Milford, for being the catalyst that inspires the continued daily strategic focus on sustainable waste management and for his inspiring contribution today. In fact, Mr. Milford, you have coined the phrase here today, from talking to walking. So what we need to do, I agree, we need to walk the talk. A hearty thank you and our deepest gratitude to TCL's General Manager, Mr. Rojo de Diego, for his diligence in pursuing this initiative and his thought-provoking contribution this morning, with specific reference to climate change and reducing carbon footprint. I would also like to thank the staff at the Ministry of Public Utilities, TCL, and SWMCOL who have joined in discussions, provided input and feedback on the Memorandum of Understanding, and have generally shown their enthusiasm for this endeavor. Our work is only starting and will require lots of energy going forward. Thank you also to the administrative support staff who did much of the legwork to get the MOU and this ceremony off the ground. I would like to say I'm confident that through our efforts and commitment, we will be able to achieve more and to be able to continue towards our pathway to sustainability. I encourage everyone present here today to embrace SWMCOL's call to action. Let's all get into green. As I close, I leave with you a quote from author Bay Johnson. Refuse what you do not need. Reduce what you do need. Reuse what you consume. Recycle what you cannot refuse, reduce or reuse, and compost the rest. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to the end of the formal part of our event. Thank you very much for being here with us today. I know that some of you are very busy, but please feel free to interact with your fellow Earth.
they're standing on it. I don't have a photographer, so we'll have to use a file photo of Marvin. That's alright.